all in the eye of the beholder. It's an interesting tech. I'm not going to talk about that project. I do many projects. I only have 45 minutes, so I won't enumerate my activities. But we'll talk about this. If you want to hear about the other project, invite me again. So I will talk about social book search. What I personally like to do is to find things that connect the old and the new in various ways. This is a very interesting test field for some of the changes that are happening now. So we're going to look in particular at the differences between, say, the traditional types of descriptions, so professional metadata type of descriptions, and the modern social media. And we're going to do that in the domain of book search, which of course has a traditional field, but has a lot of advantages. So the main motivation behind this research is actually that this world around us is completely changing. This was mentioned a number of times. The information we have access to nowadays is incomparable to, say, information 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And it's not only different only in quantity, but also in character. Yes, lots of the things we do also in FIRE or NLP or anywhere is kind of doing the more or less old thing, which was based on, talking about IRX, based on ad hoc search for relevance. Yes, well, if we apply those things to the new type of data, say the kind of data we have in social media, there's just differences. So the data is different. It's different in volume. It might be subjective, opinionated. We have a talk about humor. There's also different tasks. It's different type of data. People do different things with that. Because also they have the world in their fingers the whole time, and they have access to data with a lot of characters. So you would use that for a different purpose. And it also leads to thinking about, okay, what's a good result, what's a relevant result, what's a useful result on this other data that has completely different characteristics. And in particular, it's interesting to think of new types of tasks and how they would change what we know. So to understand the connection, I'm not saying that the old things would be valuable. I think they're still very valuable, but we also would understand how they differ from some of the new things that are happening. The domain that we use here for social book search, so search is kind of the boring library thing, and it's actually quite exciting if you look in detail at it. So there's a lot of more or less traditional data. In this case, we're going to use the Amazon data primarily, which is mostly metadata, structured data, edited data by professionals, publishers of one, etc., etc. And this is also a domain where there's a massive amount of social content. In particular, we're going to use the library thing. That's it's a social catalog for all individuals all over the world, and catalog and discuss and tag and organize their books. So pretend to be a librarian, but do it in a completely open way. Because there's not one librarian deciding what should be seen. The way this book is cataloged in India, but everybody can decide for themselves, and there's many different ways in parallel, and there's a lot of social content. So there's a lot more than traditional metadata now in this field. But this allows also new types of tasks, new types of requests. And what's interesting to note is that most, if not all, so for example, Amazon or library thing, they completely ignore the social content now in their search. If you search on Amazon, you're only searching through the formal metadata, not through the reviews or tags or anything else they got from social media. And in library thing, actually it's the same. They have very little. They only have title, etc., etc. They have only very few fields that are additional metadata, and the search is only on that. So you can search on ISBN, you can search on title, etc., etc. But their standard search won't search words and reviews or text or something. So the overview is, well, you'll find out on the way. So the main motivation is, the main broader motivation is this changing world of different data. And this book search is a nice domain to test drive this. We know it well, and there's excellent resources which are publicly available. And we're going to look now in particular at not the book representation, but in particular what's happening on the library thing discussion forums. That could be a model of what people want to do if there's more different types of data around. So in particular, we're going to look at book requests and suggestions that happens on these fora, and we're going to compare them with, say, what would happen if we do traditional search for metadata or the reviews or something else. And well, book search is an interesting topic anyway, because it's relatively well understood, but it's still a complex notion of relevance there. Why recommend a book to somebody? Well, Granata said that for every user you will find the book, and for every book you will find the user, the laws of library science. But in reality, it's a very complex notion. It's not as clear-cut as say, looking at the homepage of pages and things like this. So this is an interesting domain to test this. Well, a bunch of research questions I mostly covered that. Let me just point out the one that we first considered in is that actually can we use this forum data itself for evaluation, because that turns out to be in the first half of the topic. So this is reporting on work done at IMAX, mainly since 2011. And it's called social book search task, so that you get some kind of topical request, not a non-item search. And the system should return a ranked list of books, books that are of interest to the person asking the request. It's not really typical ad hoc search because we want to model the types of requests and the type of recommendations as we observe them at the forum of library. So you could say, okay, so how to decide, well, can you do something that's as similar as possible to what's happening there, or so that might be more suggestion or recommendation that might have other aspects than just topical relevance to the popularity and importance of it. So the main collection we have is 2.8 book descriptions, all English. It's all nicely ordered by ISBN, so nice domain for that. It's actually crawled and downloaded with agreement of both Amazon and LibraryThing. So Amazon actually has also some social data. LibraryThing has also very limited, say, title or some formal fields, but mostly the Amazon data is controlled editorial data, and mostly the LibraryThing data is social data contributed by individuals. And the collection is actually, all the scrolls are kind of integrated, so you have a nice organized collection per ISBN. You have some of the data from Amazon, most of the data from Amazon, and a lot of the data from library. The collection was created by Duisburg by a group of Norbert Boer. It was created by them for use in the iTrack and some related projects they were running. And since they were only busy creating this collection, we just got from the bandwagon and help them. So just to give a few of the collection, it's 2.8 million, so it's fairly large, yet not insurvivable large. I think there's a book cover on Amazon as well. If you take that out of the collection, it's easy to do with a smaller machine. Keep also the images, which are nice for an interface, and it's somewhat larger, but still on a modern computer, it should be no problem to deal with. Just some numbers. So the professional metadata, it's very well balanced. So the median number of GUI codes or classification codes, GUI-like codes, Amazon kind of copies the GUI codes, but they have their own version of it. They actually use that to train a machine and automatically then kind of editorial correct it. So they have an almost official GUI system classification, which is very nice. So they have a large collection where they know okay, what topic is what. There's also a subject descriptor, something apparently not very controlled. Median again 1. And there's browse notes, which are kind of people reading this also or buying this will also buy that. So that's some more that's somewhat less balanced. Well, it's 18 on average, and it's more or less uniformly distributed. LibraryThing, of course, is a completely different matter. Especially the reviews are there's many books without reviews. The median is 0, but the average is 5. So I think it's a very skewed distribution. Same holds for tags, although most books actually have tags. And there's automatically generated a similar copy. So there's a difference between, say, in the traditional world, every book there's the same description, the same length, almost amount of metadata fields, very uniform. The social media is completely skewed, redistributed. Often you don't have reviews. They might be very valuable, but so there's a popularity effect and it's very skewed. So the first year, we worked a lot with the forum. So initially we thought this is a good starting point, so we can get at least interesting requests or topics on the forums, because these are the things people look for. They are not so trivial that they can just do this. If it's a non-item search, you can just find it on Amazon. Nobody would post at a forum, so they're relative to complexity. They give some more background information, but it's at least useful to generate distinct topics. There are recommendations on the forum, which might be useful to have a small starting set of relevant books, or possibly relevant books. And probably we'll need to do a lot of traditional adjustments to add on to that, because whatever we get from the forums will be highly incomplete, because it depends on whoever is on the forum, what books they read, how knowledgeable they are, etc., etc., etc. Nobody read the whole library, so it will be some very small sample of probably useful books. It's just a good starting point. So the topics, we thought this is very useful. The topics, the forum is very nicely organized. Show this. So this is an example of the forum. Each posting has a title, so in this case it's Politics of Multiculturalism Recommendations. The forum is very nicely organized in groups, so people interested in a topic will be their own groups, follow their groups, get email updates, things like this. The actual statement is more than the two were great. We had this nice story saying, Leo, I read this book, blah, 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 blah. I want to know, this is kind of an average length, so some are much longer, some are a little bit short. Often they mention book that people read before, and you could also use that in a query. And then actually in the replies, well, the replies are here. You can only see a part of the first reply. People reply, in this case actually there's two replies, and most requests are about finding books. There's some other requests as well. And replies recommend books to use. And there's a very simple syntax, like a wiki-like syntax. If you reply, you kind of pick out an actual book in library thing, and then it becomes a hyperlink. And then also here, all works that occur in these replies are automatically collected. So there's a nice list of